New York-based writer and columnist Shomik Chaudhuri has been a practitioner of Kriya Yoga for over 4 decades, a passion that has underpinned everything that he does, from writing to his varied NGO-related work, including for the United Nations. It has led him to offer training at Harvard and Cornell universities apart from sensitizing the United Nations to the importance of spirituality as an essential part of human existence. In his latest book, Some Whispers from Eternity, he writes about grand themes such as Om Kriya Yoga, consciousness, koshas, and chakras, and what it is that energizes the universe. Shomik spoke to Mayank Chhaya Reports from New York.
Welcome to Mayank Chhaya Report, Shomik. It's a great pleasure to have you.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you so much for having me.
Congratulations on your book, Some Whispers from Eternity.
Thank you.
The starting point of your book is your concern for the, as you call it, degradation of life on Earth. That's a vast theme. How did you manage to tighten the focus so as to make it palatable to a reader?
Well, actually speaking, right from childhood, we were very much focused on inculcating certain values which encompass all humanity. And we really practiced a lot of time tested, I would say, practices, austerities from childhood. And we saw that over a period of, throughout our life, it helped us to change ourselves, change our approach, change our mindset, and become more inclusive and more compassionate. And, we always felt like serving people all around the world. As you know, I have been working with the United Nations for the last 35 years. And, through international NGOs initially, where we volunteered and then we founded one. So we have been talking with, we have special consultative status with ECOSOC. So through that, we have been presenting recommendations at high-level segment meetings on various issues like eradication of poverty, environment, women's issues, etc., etc. So we have been recommending based on grassroots level experience that we have through our projects, that how we can help people to come up. So basically, our entire idea is not to do charity, but to empower people at the grassroots level and everywhere. So this is, of course, the material, empowerment, people becoming more self-reliant, more, prosperous, more educated, more aware of what the world is like and how they can handle things. So that is one aspect. But of course, if we want this transformation and this empowerment to be sustainable, the most important thing is values or spirituality. Spirituality is something which is the core of our being. So until and unless we really nurture that and empower us through spirituality, the good qualities, the good tendencies of our being won't flourish or come out. And to do that, that is why I said that, my aim is to present this book as a means of, helping people understand how they can empower themselves spiritually, elevate themselves spiritually, and become much better human beings than they were before. So that was my idea in, writing this book.
You have approached this book as sort of a conversation between you and your friend Madhusudan. Throughout the book, there are exchanges between the two of you over rather lofty themes. How did
Yes.
you go about giving them the shape of chapters?
Okay. I actually have been thinking that how do you evolve this subject? How do you start from the beginning, the basics, and then slowly move on to what we ultimately want? That is a golden age for humanity. So throughout this, I generally went step by step into various aspects of our existence, and how to evolve ourselves to a higher level of existence, and finally how we can make the whole globe, the whole humanity, usher in a golden age.
The cornerstone of your book is Kriya Yoga, a spiritual system famously brought about by Paramahamsa Yogananda in his iconic book, Autobiography of a Yogi. Tell me a bit
Yes.
about that.
Well, actually speaking, we have been, blessed by, Mahavatar Kriya Babaji. You must have read about him in Autobiography of a Yogi. He was Lahiri Mahasaya's guru. Now, he is someone who has been working behind the scenes with a lot of, spiritual people, and guiding them, elevating them, encouraging them. So we have been very fortunate to get his blessings, in the sense that right from childhood we have had realized saints who used to come to our house and teach us kriya yoga, how to do kriya yoga, how to elevate one's consciousness to a higher level. Finally, in 1999, I met my spiritual master. He was a divine personality, absolutely divine personality. I've never seen anyone like that. I have given a description of his personality in the book, and also my experience with him.
Right.
And he initiated me into Om Kriya Yoga. He actually got this initiation from Mahavatar Kriya Babaji directly from the Himalayas, and he gave me the initiation in Om Kriya Yoga. And Babaji actually told him that this is a very simplified form of Kriya Yoga, which which should be spread all over the world, so that anyone can practice this and elevate themselves. So that is how this Kriya Yoga started. However, I would like to just point out that Kriya Yoga actually is something which the Adiyogi Lord Shiva gave it to the Saptarishis, the seven rishis, many many thousands of years ago. Then it somehow got a little lost. Then Lord Krishna gave it to Arjun in Bhagavad Gita, and then again it got lost. And Mahavatar Kriya Babaji, he has been famous for bringing this Kriya Yoga into, to humanity once again. So, in my understanding, Kriya Yoga is a combination of all the yogas that Lord Krishna taught Arjuna. You know, Karma Yoga, you become a Karma Yogi. He's saying, Arjuna, become a Karma Yogi, do Nishkam Karma. Then Gyan Yogi, study as much as you can about Shastras and everything that you can, and do it to the best of your ability. Then do Dhyan Yoga, that is meditate and concentrate and try to elevate your consciousness. And then you try Bhakti, then you do Bhakti Yoga, which means you have devotion for the Lord. Because without devotion for the Lord, you will always slip, because it's a very, very tricky path. You can have ego, you can have so many issues. But the thing is, if you have devotion to the Lord, there are higher powers, of course, and they take care of you and they guide you in through all these tricky situations. He takes you to the ultimate realization. So I think Kriya Yoga is something which is very important, and that is what I have shared in the book in details for the first time, for everyone to read and practice and elevate themselves.
One of the many themes that you address involves koshas and chakras. Uh,
Yes.
explain to me the relationship therein, especially between koshas and chakras. The way I understand from your writing is that there are 5 koshas and 7 chakras. Tell me, elaborate a bit on that.
Yes. Koshas, actually, they are several layers of our existence. First is the Annamaya kosha, that is the physical body, which is made out of food. That's why it's called Annamaya kosha. Then Pranamaya kosha, that is the vital airs, which the breath and everything, the energies that we have. Then Manomaya kosha, that is the mind, that we have. Then the Vijnanamaya kosha, which is the intellect, the intelligence. and then the Anandamaya Kosha, which is the core of our existence, which is the bliss body. So these are the various levels, the various bodies that we have, and that is called the koshas also. As far as the chakras are concerned, there are actually 114 chakras in the body. Two of them are, outside the body, and 112 are inside the body. So they are all over the place. So they are actually energy centers all over the body. So based on those energy centers, the entire body functions, or entire, our existence functions. So there are seven main chakras, and there are minor and medium chakras also. There are 21, I think, semi important chakras, and 86 minor chakras, and seven main chakras. These are the chakras, these are the energy centers, but we generally focus on the seven chakras, which are the main ones in the spine area.
Right. Uh, uh, you also have rather elaborate conversations about how Hindu temples are so intrinsic to our existence as a whole, not just as places of worship. Let's talk a bit about that.
Yes, actually, you see, when I talk about temples, I'm talking about the ancient Vedic temples, because they were based on the Vastu, which is the science of, direction and everything. I mean, how temples should be built, in which direction, where it should be built. So all these things, it was based on Vastu, and due to that, the temples used to be very, very energized, because it was a science which was used to construct the temple. It was not arbitrary, just building a temple. No, everything was very, very scientific. So based on that, there are a few things which used to happen. First, you can go to any ancient temple, really ancient temples like Tirupati and all these temples, you will find a very, very high level of positive energy. So primarily they were places where people used to go for gaining positive energy, so and to elevate themselves. So then later on, of course, the temples became the hub of the community events, arts and sciences, studies and research, all these things. Everything was around the temple. So temple used to be the center of the entire community over there. So in that way, it was very important not only to elevate yourself, but also to empower yourself with knowledge and everything.
On the one side, there is the overarching spiritual ambiance that you're talking about. On the other, there is a famous example that you talk about of Sri Padmanabha Temple with its fabulous treasures amassed over a couple of millennia, and now reputedly worth hundreds of billions of dollars, perhaps even $1 trillion, as you point out. Although, I mean, I have no personal way of ascertaining that. Tell me about that particular temple, because I know it was extensively reported on some time ago in the media.
Look, before, for thousands of years, India was the richest country in the world. you know they were successful in trade, in everything, and India itself had a lot of resources, minerals and metals and everything. So India was a very, very rich country, and till I think 8th century AD, India's, or even later, India's share in the global GDP was 33%. Even before the British came, it was about 25%. And when the British left, it was 3 or 4%. So, I mean, that is something which is a fact. Now, what used to happen in ancient temples, the kings of the rulers and the kings over there, they used to donate. Why? Not only for, just to amass wealth, but to, as a resource for the temple to do service, to feed the poor, to educate the people, to teach arts and sciences, everything. So the entire community used to benefit from the temple. So that is why the temples were so rich. And of course, India had a lot of wealth, the kings had a lot of wealth, so they shared it for the welfare of the people. So that's exactly how the accumulation of the wealth happened. And so Padmanabha Temple is one example where, the wealth is tremendous. It has been, accumulating for probably millennia. And that is something which, of course, recently came out when, the government, I think, forcefully opened one of the chambers and found, untold wealth over there. And
Right.
so that is something, which is an example.
Among other themes that you talk about is consciousness. Again, a vast subject, particularly relevant now given the rise of artificial intelligence and growing anxiety that at some point AI could become sentient and even conscious. What's your take on that? Because if it begins to rival humans as a technical species as capable of Earth, we are in for serious trouble.
I believe so. If we are creating artificially a lot of things and we cannot manage that, then we'll get into trouble definitely. Absolutely. So it is a matter of concern that how you handle it, you know. So I think it totally rests on the people who are working with this. I don't have complete knowledge on artificial intelligence in terms of the scope and how they are going to handle it. But until and unless they handle it with responsibility and properly, I think it can be counterproductive in terms of the future of mankind.
Right. You write that for you, consciousness is the non physical energy that makes us aware of everything and it permeates the entire creation. Elaborate a bit on that.
Actually, you see, in the scriptures, in Srimad Bhagavatam and all, it talks about Lord Vishnu having a sleep and dreaming about this creation. So I believe that this is a reference to the creation of consciousness. You know, consciousness is a very, very subtle most subtle energy, which makes us aware. So that is what consciousness is all about. In fact, the Vedanta also talks about consciousness in similar words. And that is something which permeates the whole creation, because this whole creation is a play of consciousness. From consciousness, the various stages are attained, and finally the material stage comes, and that is how the material creation has happened. So everything starts from consciousness and comes down to the material world, and again it will go back to consciousness. So I'll tell you something. I was reading about quantum interference, I believe. So there they are saying that if you talk something on Earth, it'll have some effect in the furthest galaxies, the furthest stars in the universe, they are trying to say that means that we are all one. And that is something which our scriptures have spoken about thousands and thousands of years ago, that we are one. Everything is one. It goes back to one, and it emerges from one. And so actually we are one. It's a manifestation of the one.
And before I let you go, Shomik, tell me how the book is doing. I'm very curious to know, because it's a intense read. It requires a great deal of focus. How is it doing?
I am hoping that it'll do well. I mean, in fact, they have just started the marketing about a month ago, and from what I have heard from one mainstream media in Pennsylvania, they said that apparently the book was ranked number three among thousands of books that were published in the US in the month of November when my book was published. So in that sense, I would say that it'll probably, do successfully. It'll take a little time because now, they have just started the marketing. then internationally we have to market so that people all around the world come to know about this and they can learn this. So I'm very optimistic that it is something which will probably help people a lot. And finally, I believe that this is something which I have uh, offered as a prayer to my spiritual master, as a service to humanity. So I have done my part, and it is up to the higher powers to see that it goes to as many people as possible and helps as many people as possible.